So this is a new form of a line. We are used to having lines that are y equals mx plus b. This is new. It is ax plus by equals c. A, b, and c are just numbers. So like right here, 3x plus 4y equals 12, 4x minus 5y equals 20. A, b, and c are numbers, just like m and b were numbers. We are going to use two methods to graph these. We are going to teach you guys both methods. On your assignment, it asks you to use intercepts for the first two, converting for the next two, and then it tells you you can use whatever method you want. So the two methods that we are using are the converting method and the intercepts method. For the converting method, we are going to take this equation, we're going to do a couple steps with our equation, and we are going to convert it so that it's y equals mx plus b, because we know how to graph an equation that's in y equals mx plus b. So go ahead and open up this first little window, and we are going to convert the problem here and graph it here. So we've got 4x minus 5y equals 20. When we are converting, it is a two-step process. The first thing that we are going to do is we are going to subtract away the term with the x. That's fine. So we are going to subtract 4x from both sides of our equation, because we are trying to get y by itself on the left side of the equation. So now I've got negative 5y equals, and then right here I've got 20 minus 4x. First of all, I cannot do subtraction there and make that 16, because the 20 does not have an x on it and the 4 does. So those are not like terms. Also, because I want this to be in y equals mx plus b form, I'm going to put my mx first. So I'm going to put negative 4x first, and then put my plus 20. Because I want it to be as close to what I need it to be at the end as possible. Try to save myself some steps. Okay. Then from there, I need to get y by itself. So to get my y by itself, I'm going to get rid of that negative 5. This right now means negative 5 times y. So I'm going to divide everything by negative 5. So I divide by negative 5 here. And I'm also going to divide by negative 5 here and here. So everything I do on one side, I got to do on the other. These negative 5s cancel. So that leaves me just a y here. Y equals. Then right here, I've got negative 4 over negative 5. Negative 4 over negative 5. The 4 and the 5 can't reduce at all. So let's say it was like 2/4, I could reduce it to 1/2. 4/5 I can't reduce. What I can do, however, is a negative divided by a negative is positive. So this could be positive 4/5 x. And then 20 divided by negative 5. A positive divided by a negative is negative, so it's going to be minus. 20 divided by negative 5 is negative 4. So I got 4/5 x minus 4. Okay, so I did two steps. I subtracted the 4x, and then I divided by the negative 5. From there, I can then graph that. So my slope is 4/5. My y-intercept is negative 4. So I'm going to start on my graph at negative 4. On my y-axis. And then I'm going to graph my slope, which is 4/5. So that means I go up 4, right 5, and I can put a dot. I do not have space to go up 4, right 5 again. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and connect those. Okay. Any questions about that one? Okay. We are going to work on the one directly below that. Don't try to work on the ones on the right because we are doing those with a different method. So we are going to work on the one directly below that, and I'm actually going to pause the video, let you guys work on a couple on your assignment, and then we'll come back and learn the intercepts method. So right now we're learning the converting method. We're converting to slope-intercept form. So moving down, we've got one more here that we are going to convert. It is x plus 4y equals negative 4. So I'm going to open this up, convert it inside. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put an imaginary 1 in front of my x, because x by itself is 1x. Okay. Then from there, my goal is to get y by itself. So I need to get rid of my 1x, and I need to get rid of my 4. So I'm going to start by subtracting 1x. I get 4y on the left equals, on the right side, I have negative 1x minus 4. Okay, from there, I need to get rid of that 4. So I'm going to divide everything by 4. I get y equals, this is going to stay a fraction. Sometimes it'll divide out, sometimes it'll simplify, but a lot of times it'll just stay as a fraction. So it's negative 1/4 x and then negative 4 divided by 4 is negative 1. So that means my slope is negative 1/4. My y-intercept is negative 1. So to graph this, I'll start at my y-intercept, which is negative 1. And then I'm going to go down 1, right 4. So down 1, right 4. I can also go up 1 and left 4 if I want to. Any questions about either of those? All right, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to pass out your assignment, and you guys are going to work on numbers 1 and 2 only. So numbers 1 and 2 say to you. Hey, so we are now going to be looking at a completely different method to do the same thing. So a good example of why we have these two methods. There are two ways I get to school in the morning. Sometimes I drive down 6th Street and then drive down Fairlawn. Sometimes I get on the highway and I go all the way around town. Since the highway's been closed lately, I've been doing this more. But I look at my map in the morning and see if there's traffic on the highway, and sometimes I take the highway still. So it's good to have two methods to do the same thing in life so that we can get to where we need to be. So our second method is called the intercepts method. So for our intercepts method, we are going to be finding our x-intercept and our y-intercept. Our x-intercept is on the x-axis of our graph, the straight side-to-side graph or axis. It happens when the y value of our ordered pair is 0. So I'm going to put a 0 in that second spot there. Our y-intercept is on our y-axis, and it happens when the x value here is 0. So to do our intercepts, what we are doing is we are plugging in zeros to this for one variable and then the other, and then we're solving. So the first one that we're going to do, I'm going to show you all of the steps on this one, and then I'll show you that you don't have to write this all down. First thing I'm doing is separating my workspace into two areas because I'm going to find two intercepts. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 3x plus 4y equals 12. I'm going to plug in 0 for y. So to find my x-intercept, I am going to plug in 0 for y. I'm writing it down just on this first one so we know what's happening. So that is going to be 3x plus 4 times 0 equals 12. So I'm plugging in a 0 for the y. 3x plus 4 times 0 equals 12.
That would literally just be nothing but x.
Yes. So what's 4 times 0?
Nothing.
Nothing. So I've got 3x plus 0 equals 12. And I have to pick up the phone. Let me pause the video. All right. So then 3x plus 0 is just 3x. So now all I have is 3x equals 12. And I can just solve that. So plugging in 0 for y makes it so that I literally just have the x. So 3x equals 12. I divide both sides by 3. And I get x equals 4. Let's graph this one and then let's do the opposite. So this means that my x-intercept is the point 4, 0. So I'm plugging in a 4 for that first number. So I graph this at 4 over 0 up. Okay, so then what Chad was just saying, to do the y-intercept, we do the exact opposite. So to find our y-intercept, we're going to plug in 0 for x. So that'll be 3 times 0 plus 4y equals 12. We know that 3 times 0 is just 0. So we've got 0 plus 4y equals 12. Nothing plus 4y is just 4y. So this is just 4y equals 12. We can divide both sides by 4. Get y equals 3. So that means our y-intercept, I feel like I'm going a little fast. Our y-intercept is the point 0, 3. So 0, and then we're filling in a 3 here. So that gets graphed at 0 over, 3 up. Okay, once we get those two graphed, we then just connect them into a straight line. And that is where the graph of our line would be. Any questions right now before we do our last example? I'm going to make it easier for our last example. Okay, so this does not seem like a shorter way right now. And that's because I wanted you to explain to you what we were doing and what was actually happening. All that you have to do is this. That's all of the stuff you would actually have to do. Because we know if we plug in 0, it's going to 0 out. So from here on out, to use the intercepts method, that's all you have to do. Is plug in 0 and go. Okay. Anyone need this one still? Okay. Then we'll go do our one last problem, and we're going to do it the short way this time. So the short way is us being able to say, to find my x-intercept, all I have to do is 3x equals negative 18. And to find my y-intercept, all I have to do is negative 6y equals negative 18. So to solve this one out, I'll divide by 3 on both sides. I will get x equals negative 6. So that means my x-intercept will be negative 6, 0. So I go left 6, up 0. And then for my y-intercept, I would divide both sides by negative 6. I'm going to get y equals negative divided by negative is positive. So this is positive 3. So I am going to graph that y at 3, 0. Or sorry, 0, 3. My bad. And then I can connect the two of those. any questions right now? Okay, this whole little unit, the little piece of paper that's all folded up, it gets glued in your notebook. It should fit perfectly on a page there. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording. On your assignment,